So we are going to begin with the first workshop for the event Funkit. This event is exclusively for the freshers, but it also shares quite a few similarities with the event Digisim and iChip. Actually, these three events have similar basics, right? So here we have Sanika, and Sanika, who is the coordinator for the event Funkit, and she would be teaching you some of the concepts today. Okay, Sanika, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ishan. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you
Hello,
are. Yes, you are.
Yes,
fine. Is the screen visible?
yes,
Yes.
Okay, okay. So first of all, Funkit is exclusively a first year event. ठीक है, तो फर्स्ट ईयर सब ध्यान से सुनना. तो माई सेल्फ सानिका जैन, कोऑर्डिनेटर ऑफ Funkit. In this workshop, we are going to discuss number system, gates, Boolean algebra and K-map. ठीक है, तो नंबर सिस्टम से स्टार्ट करते हैं. So firstly, there are many number systems in our digital technology. Most common number system which we are going to study here is decimal number system, binary number system, octal number system and hexadecimal number system. ठीक है. Now what is the difference in all these number systems? So the main difference between these number system is their base. So the base of decimal number system is 10. That means this number system consists of all the digits from 0 to the base minus 1, and base minus 1 is 9. Thus, our decimal number system consists of all the digits from 0 to 9. Similarly, in binary number system, the base is 2. So, binary number system consists of all the digits from 0 to 2 minus 1, that is 1. In octal number system, the base is 8. As you can see it from the name onwards, octal means 8. So here the base is 8. Thus, this number system consists of all the digits from 0 to 7. And the hexadecimal number system has digit 16. It consists of all the numbers from 0 to 15. So you can also say that how can we see the difference that what is a which one is a binary number and which one is a decimal number? So for avoiding this confusion, while using different numeral system, the base of each individual number may be as specified by writing a subscript of the number. तो अगर मतलब जैसे मान लो 537 है, तो 537 ऑक्टल में भी हो सकता है और डेसिमल में भी हो सकता है. ठीक है, तो डेसिमल में है ये रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए हम उसके सबस्क्रिप्ट में उसका बेस लिखते हैं हमेशा. जैसे डेसिमल के सबस्क्रिप्ट में हम 10 लिखते हैं, ऑक्टल के सबस्क्रिप्ट में हम 8 लिखते हैं. तो ऐसे हम अपने नंबर को रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे. नेक्स्ट हम देखेंगे कि डेसिमल नंबर सिस्टम को बाइनरी में कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है. सेकेंड ईयर को तो आता ही होगा, फर्स्ट ईयर थोड़ा ध्यान से देख लेना, तुम में से बहुत से लोगों ने पहले से किया होगा. ठीक है, तो लेट्स से वी हैव अ डेसिमल नंबर से लेट्स से 525. तो इसको बाइनरी में चेंज करने के लिए बाइनरी का जो बेस होता है विच इज 2, तो हम बाइनरी के बेस से अपने नंबर को डिवाइड करेंगे. कब तक डिवाइड करेंगे? जब तक हमारा क्वेश्चन 0 ना हो जाए. ठीक है, तो ये तो बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम्पल है. एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल देके समझाती हूँ तुम लोगों को. जस्ट अ सेकेंड.
Anika,
हाँ,
they are asking you to speak in English only.
okay, no problem. Okay, so we'll see how to convert decimal number system to binary number system with an example. Let's say we should take a small example. Let's say 42. Okay. So we'll divide 42 by 2 until we get the quotient as 0. So here firstly we will divide 42. We will get 21. We are storing the remainder in this side. So remainder for this will be 0. Again we will divide it by 2. We will get quotient as 10. Here we will get the remainder 1. Again we will divide it by 2. We will get the quotient as 5. And the remainder is 0. Again when we will divide, we will get here 2 and here 1. Again here 1 and here 0. And the last time, because after this we are getting 0 as the question. Now we will stop here. So the binary number which we get after converting 42 to binary is the number that we write down to up from here. So the binary conversion of 42 is 10 10 10. Okay, keep in mind that we have to write the number from downward to upward. We will not go from upward to downward. We'll write the number from downward to upward. Fine. Okay. So if you have understood this, then quickly write the binary representation of 24 in the chats. I'm looking into the chats. Write the binary representation of 24 on the chat quickly. Okay, okay. Yeah. I can see the right answer. Fine. I understood that you all got it. Okay, let's move forward. So the next. Yeah, so the next we are looking up to octal number system. So as I have already said, in octal number system, the base is 8. So in this number system, we have all the digits from 0 to 7. Now, how is a number represented? Like if a number is in decimal number system, then what we says it? Wait, I'll show you. Let's say 21 is in decimal number system. So we can also represent it as 2 into 10 to the power 1 plus 1 into 10 to the power 0. Similarly, in other number system also, as this is a decimal number system, so here we are writing the power, we are writing our weight as the power of base. So here base is 10. We are writing the weight of our first digit as the power of 10 to the power of the place of the digit. Here the place of digit is first. So place of the digit minus 1. Similarly, if we represent our octal number system, in our octal number system, if we have 21 in our octal number system, then how can we represent it in our decimal number? So the position of the first digit is 1, hence the weight of this digit will be 8 to the power 0, and we will multiply the value of this digit into our weight. This will be the value of 1, which is octal 1, to 1 into 8 to the power 0, which is in decimal. Okay. For 2, we will write 2 into 8 to the power 1. This is the way of representing any nth number system to decimal number system. This is the general way of representing any number system to decimal number system. We will also see an example of binary number system. Let's say we have 101. Okay. So what is the decimal representation of this number? 1 multiplied by 2 to the power 0 for the unit place, plus 0 multiplied by 2 to the power 1 and 1 multiplied by 2 to the power 2. Okay, I think by this example you have got what I'm trying to say. You can also see in this example, here we have given 1453 in octal number system, and we have to represent it in decimal number system, or we have to show its decimal expansion. Basically, this is its decimal expansion. So the weight of last digit is 0. So 3 into 8 to the power 0, 5 into 8 to the power 1, 4 into 8 to the power 2, and 1 into 8 to the power 3. Now let's move to the next slide. This is the representation of hexadecimal number system. In hexadecimal number system, we can represent all the numbers from 0 to 15 because the base of hexadecimal number is 16. Okay, so from 0 to 9, we can represent all the digits by its numerical form, but we cannot represent the digits after 9 in its numerical form. So for these digits, we are using alphabets. For 10, we are using capital A. For 11, we will use capital B. For 12, we will use capital C. For 13, we will use capital D. For 14, we will use capital E. And for 15, we will use capital F. Let's say our example is 3FAC. So if we have to show the decimal expansion of this hexadecimal number, we will do the same as we have done before. C into weight of this number is 16 to the power 0. The value of C is 12. So we will multiply 12 with 16 to the power 0. Then A into 16 to the power 1, value of A is 10. Then F into 16 to the power 2, value of F is 15. And then 3 into 16 to the power 3. So this will be the decimal expansion of this hexadecimal number. Okay. Next, we will see how to convert a decimal number to a binary number or an octal number. So we have already seen how to convert a decimal number to a binary number by division, by dividing it again and again by the base of the binary number. Similarly, when we have to convert decimal number into octal number, we have to divide our number continuously by the base of octal number, that means 8. For example, here we have given 56. So first we'll divide 56 by 8. We will get quotient as 7 and remainder as 0. Again, we will divide 7 by 8. We will get quotient as 0 and remainder as 7. Then we will store our answer from downward to upward side. So 56 with base 10, that means 56 in decimal is equal to 70 in octal. Fine. If you have any doubts, you can write your doubts in the chat box. We have other coordinators too. They can clear your doubt. Now we will see the conversion of binary number to hexadecimal and octal number. First, we will see binary to octal or hexadecimal. Okay. So you all have studied binary number. One thing that you know is if we have to represent 8 digits, we can easily represent them by 3-bit binary number, because a 3-bit binary number, if we take a max of 3-bit binary number, we will take it 111, that means 7, and we will represent each number from 0 to 7 with 3-bit binary digits. So if we have to convert a binary number into an octal number, we will just divide the binary number from the right hand side into 3 bits, because the value of this 3-bit can never exceed 7. And what is the condition of our octal number? That this number will only be between 0 to 7. Hence, we will take a group of 3 bits from the right hand side. For example, you can see in this case, we have taken a group of 3 here, a group of 3 here, a group of 3 here, and in last, whatever the number may remain, you can leave it as it is. Now, how can you write the octal number of this binary number? You will see just the value of this binary number. So 001 is the representation of 1 in decimal. Okay, so we will write 1 in place of 001. Now 110 is the binary is the binary representation of 6. You can also do it in your copy if you are having some doubts. So 110 is the binary representation of 6. Thus we will write 6 in this place. Then 011 is the binary representation of 3. So we will write 3 in this place. And 10 is the binary representation of 2. So we'll write 2 in its place. Thus 2361 will be the octal representation of our this binary number. Now if we come to our hexadecimal number system, so hexadecimal number system means the base 16, and the base 16 means we need 4 bits to cover all these numbers. That means with 4 bits we can cover the numbers from 0 to 15. So in this case we will divide our binary number in the groups of 4. Like you can see here, we have divided for the first group of 4, then second group of 4, and in the last you can leave whatever it is. So 4 in its place. So this is the conversion of binary to octal and hexadecimal number system. Now you have already seen the conversion of binary, octal or hexadecimal to decimal number system. Basically this is the decimal expansion, as I have already told you. You can also see 101, 1 into 2 to the power 2 plus 0 into 2 to the power 1 plus 1 into 2 to the power 0. Okay, in this when we have decimal, so you already know that all the numbers before decimal we start the weightage from 0. So after decimal numbers we will start the weightage from -1 and onwards, -1, -2 and whatever it is. Similarly for hexadecimal we will go for value of a is 10, so 10 into 16 to the power 1 plus 1 into 16 to the power 0. Okay, so now let's move on to the gates. So many of you have already studied gates. I'll give a brief description of this. So what is AND gate? This is the graphical representation of AND gate. Algebraic symbol of AND gate is y is equals to, or output is equals to a dot b. In truth table you can clearly see that the output is only 1 when all the inputs are 1, otherwise it is 0. This is the property of AND gate. In OR gate we have this is our OR gate. The algebraic expression is f is equals to x plus y. Its property is it is only 0 when all the inputs are 0, otherwise it is 1. Inverter is our NOT gate. It will change a 0 to 1 and a 1 to 0. It is also written as x bar or x complement. Okay, a buffer is a buffer doesn't change anything. That means whichever you have in the input, you will get that output only. So 0 will only be 0 will be 0 only, and 1 will be 1 only. Next we have NAND and NOR gates. So NAND and NOR are our universal gates. You can make any gate from a single from NAND gate, and you can make any gate from a NOR gate. That's why NAND and NOR are said to be universal gates. What is a NAND gate? A NAND is a not of an AND gate. You can also see in the symbol we have AND gate with a not sign, and in the representation also it is x dot y ka whole complement. Complement means it's not. The truth table is just reverse of AND gate. For NOR gate is a not of OR gate. Its symbol, its binary representation is x plus y ka whole complement, and in its truth table also it is the complement of the OR gate. Now the two extra gates are XOR and XNOR gates. So what is an XOR gate? This is the formula of representing an XOR gate, that is x y dash plus x dash y. The sign of representing an XOR gate is circle plus. Okay, circle plus. In its truth table, it is clearly seen that if both of our inputs are same, then our output will be 0. And if both our inputs are different, then our output will be 1. XNOR is just the not of XOR gate. It is represented by circle plus, circle dot. Okay, XNOR is represented by circle dot. in its truth table, you will see if both our inputs are same, the output is 1, and if both our inputs are different, the output is 0. Okay. Next, universal gates. NAND and NOR are universal gates. Okay. This is the conversion of NOR gate to every other gate. Okay, we will share this slide with you. You can see this from example. I'm not going in depth of this. This is not more use of ours. Okay, fine. So now Akriti will take from here.
Akriti, you are on mute, and Sanika, there are a few questions in the chat box.
Sanika, please stop sharing your screen.
Yeah.
Your screen is visible.
Yes.
Can you
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
Okay, everyone. Myself is Akriti Singh, and I'm electronics third year student, and I'm also coordinator of Funky. So I'm going to teach you about the remaining part. Now I will try to teach you few topics like SOP, POS, max term, min term, how to draw truth table from given condition, how to write Boolean expression from given truth table. I will teach you all these things by solving this question. Okay, so let's read about this question. The question is about design a circuit which have 3-bit binary input and a single output, that is LED, specified as LED will glow when the inputs are 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. As we just studied about the binary form of representation. So if I have 3-bit binary input, then I will have the maximum number of decimal equivalent is 7. So I can provide here 0 to 7 input to this box, from which for these particular inputs the bulb will glow. So the first I will draw the truth table for the circuit for the given question. Okay. I think you have studied about the truth table in your past classes in class 12, class 11. So the truth table I have drawn from this question. Okay. ABC is the inputs and F is the output. Here ABC value is 0, so it is equivalent to decimal 0. For this F is 0 because bulb will not glow for the value 0. And for 001 it is equivalent to decimal 1. For this F is 0 because bulb is not glowing for input 1. But for 010 it is equivalent to decimal 2 as it is here given. So the bulb will glow, so F is equal to 1. For 011 it will be 3. So bulb will not glow, we will write 0 here. For 100 it is 4. As given in the question, bulb will glow for 4. So I have written here 1. As similarly for 5, 6, 7. So this is the truth table regarding this question. Okay, if anyone had doubt, please ask. Otherwise, I will proceed further. So now, by using this truth table, I have to draw the circuit which is inside this box. But to draw the circuit, I have to write a Boolean expression. Okay. So to write a Boolean expression, we have to learn few terms before that. So let's jump to that terms. There are two terms, min term and max term. Okay. Listen very carefully. The product of all literals, either with the complement if the variable value is 0, or without complement if the variable value is 1. It is written in literals means A, B, C, that is. Okay, I will take complement if the value of variable is 0, and we will take without complement if the variable value is 1, and then we will take the product of that. For example, if A equal to 0 and B is equal to 1 and C is equal to 0, then I will write min term as, if A is 0, then I will write A complement, and if B is 1, I will write as B as it is same, and C is 0, then I will write C complement. Then I will take product of these three. So A complement dot B dot C complement. This is the min term of this given example. A is equal to 0, B equal to 1, and C equal to 0. Okay. So now I will jump to max terms. Max term is almost the opposite of min terms. Here I've written product, I've written sum. The sum of all literals either with complement. in this case, I will take complement if the variable value is 0 in min terms. But in the max terms, I will take complement if the variable value is 1. Okay? Or without complement if the variable value is 0. In min terms, I will take without complement if the variable value is 1. But in max term, it is just opposite. I will take without complement if the variable value is 0. Let's see from the example. For example, if A is 0 and B is 1 and C is 0, okay, then the max term for this condition as A is 0, I will write it without complement A. And if B is 1, I will write with complement B complement. And if C is 0, I will write it same as it is. So then I will take sum of all. So A plus B complement plus C. So this is the max term for this example, and this is min term for this example. Okay, I will try to give you one question. The chat box for this condition, if A is equal to 1 and if B is equal to 1 and if, just a minute, if C equal to 0. Can you guys please write down the min terms and max term for this condition? No, it doesn't mean that the min term will always be equal to 1 and max term will always be equal. Can anyone write about the min term and max term for this given condition? If you can see here, you can take the help of the given example also. Can you please write just min term ABC and what is max term? What about max term? Please write about the max term also. In max term, you have to take, this is Ashish Kumar, in max term, you have to take summation of that. Okay. I think you all got it. Okay. So now let's jump to next topic. For example, for this truth table, it is given A, B, C as input. I have written the max term and min term also. Look here. If A is 0, B is 0, C is 0, then min term for that, it will be A complement dot B complement dot C complement. Okay, and the max term for that particular condition will be A plus B plus C. Okay, same it is for 0, 0, 1, it will be A complement dot B complement dot C, and max term will be A plus B plus C complement. I written min terms and max term for that particular question's truth table. Okay. After that, I will try to for the next step. I will written truth table. Now I have written min term and max term. Now in the next step, I have to write a Boolean expression, so that after that I can draw the circuit inside it. So to write a Boolean expression, I have to learn two terms. Let's see here. Representation of a Boolean expression can be done in two ways. Okay, we can done the representation of Boolean expression in two ways. The two ways are SOP and POS. Please listen very carefully. SOP is sum of products.
I think your slide is not visible. I mean, the wrong slide is visible. Yeah, now it is right.
Is it this time?
Yes.
Okay. So now we are going to learn how to write a Boolean expression from the truth table. Okay. So representation of a Boolean expression can be done in two ways. The two ways are SOP and POS. SOP is sum of product and POS is product of sum. You can done the representation in any ways. In either by SOP or by POS. Both are correct. Okay? So what is SOP? Combining the min terms with OR gives the sum of products. Okay. We will combine those min terms for whose output value is high. I mean, for writing the F in SOP form, I will combine those min terms for which F is 1. For example, F is 1 for here, and here. So I will write A complement B dot C complement plus this term plus this term plus this term and plus this term. This will be the SOP for F. Okay. As SOP is combining the min terms with or gives sum of product. We will combine those min terms for which output is high. Okay. And for POS, we will combine the max term with AND. It will give product of sum, and we will combine in POS. We will combine the max term for those in which output is low, that is 0. So I can give you the example of POS and SOP for this F in next slide. Okay. In SOP form, I have written F of A, B, C. This is a summation sign, and this is small m represents subscript as a min term. So in SOP, we will have sum of the summation of min term. So which min terms for which output is high. So we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have written all the SOP form of that. Okay, similarly, I have written POS form. So, and I will draw the circuit regarding this SOP form and POS form. Okay, is there any doubt? Okay, I will give you one question. Okay, it is the logic gate of OR. I will let the main term for this. It will be have A complement dot B complement, and this will have main terms as A complement dot B. It will have A dot B complement. It will have A. I will try to explain you SOP and POS from this. Okay. So I think next term will be A plus B, and here next term will be A complement. Sorry. A plus B.
Akriti, they are telling to repeat SOP and POS again.
Yeah. I'm actually telling you. I'm explaining from this example. Just give me
She is going to tell you with the help of an example.
A complement plus B. A complement plus. Okay, I will write first of all SOP. Okay, look. In SOP, it is written as combining the main terms. Okay, we will combine the main terms with OR. But which main terms? We will combine those main terms for which the output value is high, that is 1. So in this case, if we have to write min terms for C, okay, we have to write min terms for C because C is the output. So sorry, we have to write SOP form of C. So we will take summation of those min terms for which C is high. That is, C is 1 for this condition, this, and this. So we will add all these min terms. I will write A complement dot B plus A dot B complement plus A dot B. This will be the SOP form for C. Okay. Is there any doubt for SOP? Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Is there any doubt for SOP? I can repeat it again. Look, in SOP, it is written as combining the min terms with OR gives sum of products. We will, but which min terms? We have to combine those min terms for which output is high. That will give us SOP. Okay. First, clear your SOP, then I will clear your. In this case, I have written SOP for C. I've taken summation of min term for this C is high. The C is high for this case, for this. So I've written A complement dot B, this min terms plus this min terms plus this min terms. So I've taken summation of all those min terms for which C is high. That is SOP. Is it clear? Okay. I think there's a network issue for the voice. Okay, let's see for the POS part. In POS, we have to combine. In POS, is combining the max terms with AND gives product of sums. Okay. in POS, we will combine those max terms for which output is low, that is zero. Okay, and we will combine the max term with AND operator, just opposite of SOP. Okay. And POS will write
Akriti,
C as
just switch off your camera. You have some network issues.
now we write POS for C. POS form of C, both are correct. This C is also correct and this C is also correct. So to write POS, we have to look for those values of C which is low. That is this condition, and we have to write max term. We have to take the product of max term, but here is only one values of max term, so we will write this. And as you can see that A plus B, C is equal to A plus B, this is the condition of OR. And this is also correct. If you simplify this equation, you will get here. Yes, C is equal to A plus B. This is SOP and POS. Okay, I have. Is it clear now, SOP or POS, or I will teach again? Anyone? Okay, so let's solve another question. You have to write the minterm max term for and we have to write SOP and POS expression for AND gate. Okay, please write in chat box. So let me know that you guys are clear about the SOP and POS. Okay, please. You have to write the SOP and POS form of AND gate by using this table as you write minterm, max term, and then you write SOP. Or you write SOP for which the output is high, and for POS you have to take the output which is low. Are you going to teach Kanima? Yeah, I'm going to teach KMAP also. So please clear your SOP and POS for and first year. Anyone is solving the AND gates question? Complement. Actually, I can write here also for AND gate. The output will be 0, 0, 0, and 1, and the SOP will be for that AND gate will be. We will take SOP as summation of those terms whose output is high. So the SOP will the C is equal to A dot B. Now I'm writing about AND gate. Okay, don't get confused. And for POS, anyone written the answer in the chat box? SOP is AB. Okay, and POS. Okay, I will write it because that you can understand. For POS, I have to write A plus. Just write the canonical form. Don't A plus B. A complement into A complement with B. This is the POS form of AND gate. Okay, I hope this is clear to you guys. If you have any doubt, please ask. Okay, Mr. Star, Mr. Very good. This is the right answer. Let's jump to the. Okay, that's very cool that you guys understand SOP and POS. So this is the SOP form of our circuit for given circuit and POS form for given circuit, and we have drawn this circuit. So we have got the answer of this question. But if you can see here, this circuit looks complicated. If you think that we can also minimize it and optimize it. So the next topic we will learn about minimization. When it comes to minimization, minimization is finding an optimal implementation of a digital circuit. The expression can be simplified in one of two ways. Okay, we can minimize the expression in two ways, by using Boolean algebra and by using K-map. By Boolean algebra is useful for small expression, while K-map is used for complex ones. Okay, we will learn about two ways to minimize the expression, that is Boolean algebra and K-map. So you can use Boolean algebra if the inputs are small or the variables are small, like 1, 2, 3. But if you have more than 2 or 3 inputs, then I will suggest you to use K-map for the complex. So let's come to Boolean algebra. Boolean algebra is set of rules to simplify a logic expression. There are some set of rules which you will use to simplify a logic expression. In the next few slides, we will learn about that rules. There won't be any change in the functionality of the expression. If you can see here in this this is written as a little bit complex expression, and this is written a simple expression. Both the equation have same property. Okay, this is the simplified. This is just simplified form of this equation. So the point is states that there won't be any change in the functionality of the expression. The only the expression will be minimized. Usually preferred when the number of variables are less. The Boolean algebra are preferred only when the variables are less. If you have more than 2 or 3 variables, then you have to use K-map for that. Okay, so here is an example. Why to minimize? Why we don't use it directly? Look, a plus a complement dot b equal to a plus b. These both are equal. I will prove you in the later slides, but just believe it. So as you can see, a plus a complement b has used 3 logic gates. Okay, and as saying a plus b has used only 1 logic gate. So in this first case, you have used more gate. It will take more time, more money, and it will have less efficiency. But in the second case, it will take less time, less money, and it will have more efficiency. That's why we use minimization. So now the rules and laws of Boolean algebra. Okay, these are very simple rules. Okay, I will read it. Identity law in AND form 1 dot A equal to A, or form 0 plus A is equal to A, and null law 0 dot A equal to 0, and or form 1 plus A equal to 1. Idempotent law is A dot A equal to A, or form is A plus A equal to A. In inverse law, A dot A complement equal to 0, and or form is A plus A complement equal to 1. Look, commutative law is A dot B equal to B dot A. Commutative law states that one thing. Look, if you have a gate, okay, this is a AND gate, AND gate, or this, and you written A, you have used first wire as A input and second wire as B input. And in the second case, you have used the first wire as B input and second wire as A input. In the both case, the answer will be same. Okay, either it is A dot B or it is B dot A. Both are equal. Wait, that is stated by commutative law. A dot B or B dot A, and same it is for OR form. In associative law, it states that if you take a dot product of first two and then you take the dot product of the third one, or you take the dot product of second and third one, and then you take it with the first one, these two are equal. From this if you have taken A, B, and then you take here AND gate, and you take output of this, and you take this C. It is A, it is B, and it is C. Output for this case, and you have taken B, C, and then you have taken here A. In the both case, the output will be same. There is no change. If you take, you can take in any order. Okay, there is no change in the output. This states by associative law. Distributive law. This law is a little bit important. As you can see here, first see the OR form. A dot under bracket B plus C. This dot distributes over B and C. So this dot A dot B plus A dot C. Okay, this two distributes over here. As same in AND form, this plus will be distribute over B and C. So A plus B dot A plus C. Now absorption law. As you can see, A dot A plus B equal to A. And this will come from, if you can think that in A plus B, A plus B have all over the element of A. But if I will take it complement dot product with A, I think I can prove it by the set. Is A and it is B. Okay, we will understand by union and intersection thing. What I will do, A plus B, and so this whole is A plus B, this whole is A plus B, and this is A. This whole and this is A. We will take the intersection of this A and it's A plus B. I think if you have learned about set in class 1, then you will get only A. As same for odd form. And you have study about De Morgan's law in class 12 and probabilities and I don't need to. Okay, now we will minimize the function in SOP form by using these laws. What was our equation in the previous one? This we will minimize this first in of SOP form, then we will minimize of for PUS form. Let's see. F equal to a bar dot b dot c bar plus a dot b bar dot c bar plus a dot b bar dot c plus a b dot c bar plus a b c. So equal to in these two cases, you will see we have taken a dot b bar as common. Then you will have c complement plus c, and in another case we have taken a dot b as common. Again we have c plus c complement. So c plus c complement will be 1 by inverse law. As it is a plus a complement equal to 1 in inverse law, so c plus c complement will be 1. And the next c plus c complement will be 1. If we will take dot product 1 with any variable, then we will have the same variable. A dot b bar into 1 will be a dot b bar, as same for ab. Now again we will take in here a as common, then b bar plus b will remain. So b plus bar plus b will be 1. Then we have a plus a bar dot b dot c bar. Here is one interesting law that a plus a bar b equal to a plus b. I will prove it. So what it is written? A plus a dot b equal to a plus b. Okay, I will prove it. From distributive law, you can write. Look at what is the distributive law. Distributive law states that a plus bc equal to a plus b into a plus c. Okay, what is distributive law? A plus bc equal to a plus b, a plus c. Okay, this is the distributive law. So we will use it here. We will write it as a plus a complement dot of a plus b. Okay, then we will have 1 a plus a complement will be 1 by inverse law, 1 dot a plus b will be equal to a plus b, hence root. Okay, so we have a plus a complement b equal to a plus b. So from that, from using this, we have, if you can consider b dot c complement as one variable, then a plus a complement dot this one, we consider b dot c complement as x. Okay, so a plus a complement dot x is equal to a plus x. So a plus b dot c complement. We get this complex equation in the simplest form. Now we will minimize the POS form by using these rules. So the POS form was a plus b plus c dot a plus b plus c bar plus dot a plus b bar plus c bar. Okay, from these two we'll take a plus b as common by using distributive law. As you can see here, if you go in vice versa, a plus b plus a plus c, if you take a as common, so we will have a plus bc from distributive law. We have used here, so we'll take a plus b as common, then plus c dot c complement, and let's will be written as same as. So c dot c complement will be 0, and if we will add anything to 0, then we will get the same thing from this law, 0 plus a equal to a. So a plus b plus c is 0 equal to a plus b. Now we will have a plus b bar plus c bar. From these two conditions, we will again take a as common, then a plus b dot b bar plus c bar. If you will open this, then it will be a plus b dot b bar plus b dot c bar, and b plus b dot will be 0. So if you add 0 to anything, it will remain same. So we will get a plus b dot c bar. As we can see here, the circuits comes to very small and very small, very efficient from two big circuits. Okay, this looks very complex and this too looks very complex, but by using these by using minimization, we have made circuit very small and very optimized. For minimization of expression for having more than three variables, we will use K-map, and that will be continued by Sanika. That was by my side. Okay. Sanika?
Yes,
Anyone?
stop your presentation.
Okay.
Okay, so is my screen visible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So you have already studied that how can we minimize our equation using Boolean algebra. Fine. We have seen that there are two ways to minimize our equation. First is using Boolean algebra and the second is by using K-map. Okay, so now we will see what is a K-map and how is it used to minimize our equation. So firstly, although the truth table representation of a function is unique algebraically, it can be expressed in many different but equivalent forms. So someone has also asked a doubt that there is only a unique way of representing an equation or a function in the form of Boolean algebra. So there is not a unique way. There are many different ways. As you can also see above in this example, we can represent this function in any of these given below equations. Okay. This is the most complex form and this is the most simple form, but all of them will give us the same result. So expression wise, we have a lot of ways to express our function, but what is our main aim? Our main aim is to find the simplest way to represent our function, and this we can do with the help of K-map. K-map will directly give us the minimized equation without doing all these calculations. Fine. A K-map is a diagram made up of squares with each square representing one minterm of the function that is to be minimized. For example, you can see here, I'll also show you by drawing by myself. In this example, you can see this is a three variable K-map, A, B and C. That's why you know that in a three variable K-map, we have eight outputs. So there are 8 squares. Each square represents one minterm of our K-map. Fine. What are minterms? You have studied now that minterms are product terms of all the variables. For example, the minterm represented for 0, 0 is A bar B bar. For 0, 1 is A bar B. For 1, 0 is A B bar. For 1, 1 is A B. Now, I will show you by drawing some example. So, let's draw a three variable K-map. I'll show you that how it works. So we know that in a three variable K-map, we should have eight outputs. So there are 8 squares representing each output. In the above, we will represent our two inputs A and B, and below we will represent our single input C. So if we have two inputs, what are all the if we have two variables, what are all the inputs? All the given inputs are 0 0, 0 1, 1 0 and 1 1. These are all the possible inputs from two variables. You already know this. Fine. So we will write these inputs above this table, right? So we will write 0 0 here. Okay. Then we will write 0 1 here. But we will not write 1 0 here. Now I'll tell you why. So the main function of K-map is minimizing, and with the use of K-map, how can we minimize our equation? So first see here, in this equation, when we take our AB bar common from this term, which is AB bar C bar and AB bar C, here we can see that we have left out with C plus C bar. So only one variable has different value in both these terms. Rest of the two variables have the same value. A is A here and B bar is B bar here. But only one single bit or one single variable has changed its value in these both terms. That's why we are able to minimize it, and you can finally see that after solving it, we will get only AB bar, and C plus C bar is finally finished from our equation. So this is the concept which is used to make a K-map, right? In our K-map, we make groups of ones which are adjacent to each other, and in the adjacent squares, we only keep those numbers, or we only keep those outputs which differ from each other with from only a single variable. Just you have seen in this example. You can also see in this example AB bar C bar and ABC. So AB is same in both the terms, but C has different value. It has its complement in this term. We'll see from here. Like for example, if we come from 0 0 to 0 1, there is the change of only a single bit. This 0 is changed to 1, but this 0 is not changed. This also means what? That A is remaining the same and B is changing its value. Fine. As we have seen in our example, if our adjacent squares only change with one variable or only change in one bit, then only we can minimize it. And this property is used in a K-map to minimize our equation. Fine. So we will always write our adjacent element in this form, that they will only differ by one bit, not more than one bit. Otherwise, our K-map will not give us the right answer. So after 0 1, we will write here 1 1. And after 1 1, we will write 1 0. So you can see there is a change of one bit in this from 0 1 to 1 1. A is changing here, and in this B is changing. For C, we have only two outcomes, 0 and 1. So there is no sequencing here, right? This sequence is also known as gray code in binary numbers or binary number system. Fine. So gray codes are the sequence, or gray code is the ordering in which each successive or each pair of number is on each pair of number only differ by one bit and not more than one bit. Fine. I will also show you some of the gray codes by the example of three variables. So let's say we have 0 0 0. I'm taking three variable or three input here. 0 0 0, then 0 0 1, then 0 1 1 and 0 1 0. So in this example, you can see that here there is only one bit of difference in our first and second number. So this is the property of gray code, and this property is used in our K-map for minimization. Now, as I said, that each square represent one output of our truth table. Now, how can we see which output is which one? So what is the input of our truth table? The input of our truth table is A, B, C. Now we will see the values of A, B, C and number each square. So here for first block, the value of A, B, C is 0, 0, 0 and 0, 0, 0 is our 0th output. Fine. For this case, the value of for this case, the value of ABC is 0, 0, 1. So 0, 0, 1 is our first output. For this case, ABC is 0, 1, 0. 0, 1, 0 means 2 in binary number. Then for this case, it is 0, 1, 1. 0, 1, 1 is 3 in binary number. So this will represent our third output of the truth table. Now 110 is 6. Okay, so this will represent our sixth output of truth table. 111 is 7. This will represent our seventh output of truth table. 100 is 4. This will represent fourth output of truth table. And 101 is 5. So this will represent fifth output of truth table. Now, as we have in our question, we have given that the second, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh, these 5 outcomes have the output 1. Okay, if you have forgotten the question, I'll show you from here. Second, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh, these output have the 1 in them. So we will place 1 in these numbers of squares. So 2 is 1. In this block we will place 1. In fourth block we will place 1. In fifth block we will place 1. In sixth block we will place 1. And in seventh block also we will place 1. So this is the way to make a K-map. Now we will see how to circle a K-map. All the other outputs are 0 in this case. So we will put 0 here. Fine. If you have any problem, like if you have any doubt regarding how are we making the K-map, ask in the chat box. Other coordinators are also there for solving your doubt. Fine. I will also see the chat box once. Okay. I'll explain it again. Fine. It will be easy for me to explain if you tell me that which part are you getting the problem. Exactly which part are you getting difficulty. You can also on your mic. Okay. So once again, anyone there? Yes.
I didn't
Yes,
understand. How did you assign the values like in first box 0, in the second box 1?
Okay, fine. You have understood how I have given this upper inputs to the blocks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Then I'll explain you. Fine. So you can see here in this truth table. Wait. Yeah. Okay. So see this truth table and see this diagram simultaneously. Fine. So I have said that we have ABC as our input. I am saying that AB I am representing here in my upper block and C I am representing here. So what is A? The first bit in all these numbers is A. Fine. And the second bit in this number is B. And C is what? C is 0 for all this case and C is 1 for all this case. Fine. Now when our input is 0, 0, 0, it is our 0th block or it is our 0th output. We also write it as M0 in the form of minterm. It is the designation of M0. Fine. So 0, 0, 0, that means A0, B0 and C0. This is our first block. That's why we are giving it the 0th output. Fine. Now in this case, A0, B0 and C1. If A is 0, B is 0 and C is 1, then this is our first input. Or you can also see this like 001 is the binary representation of 1. This is only the way we are naming our designations. Like if you can see that if this is M2, why it is M2? 010 is the binary representation of 2. That's why it has gotten the designation 2. 011 is the binary representation of 3. That's why we have given it the number 3. Okay. Similarly, you can see in this case A is 0, B is 1 and C is 0. So 010 is our second output and our second output is 1. That's why we have written 1 in this, 1 here. Fine. In the third case 011. So 011 is our third input and this is the representation of 3 in binary number. 011 is the representation of 3. Hence, this is the third output or M3, third minterm. Its value is 0 here, so we have written 0 in this case. Now, when our A, B, C is 110, so here 110 is sixth output or designation M6. That's why if this value is 1, we have written 1 here. For this, we have A1, B1 and C1. So A1, B1, C1 is our seventh output. For this, we have value 1. That's why we have written 1 here. For this case, we have A1, B0 and C0. So A1, B0 and C0 is our fourth input. That's why, and we have 1 in our fourth output. So we have written 1 here. Numbering I am giving simply by binary representation of the number. Like if the binary representation is 001, it is the first block. If it is 111, it is the seventh block. If it is 010, it is the second block. Okay. Your doubt is clear or still you have any doubt?
No, I understood. Thank you.
Okay. Any other doubts? Still doubt came up again, Lalit Singh. Still you have any doubt or you are clear with it?
It's clear now.
Okay, cool. Now we will see how are we going to circle our how are we going to circle our K-maps. Fine. So firstly, every square containing 1 must be considered at least once. Okay. So the first rule of circling is we can't leave any one barely, like without circling it or without grouping it. We have to make group of each and every one. Fine. Okay. One more thing I have to tell you here is how, like, what are we making the group of? So we will only make the group of those ones which are adjacent to each other. What is adjacent to second block here? It is this sixth block and third block and zeroth block. Fine. Adjacent blocks are those blocks which differ in binary number with only 1 bit. Or you can also say that the sides of these blocks are connected, so these blocks are adjacent. Okay, simply say that all the blocks connected with sides are adjacent. So adjacent block of 2 is 6, 3 and 0, but 1 and 7 are not adjacent blocks of 2. Fine. So we cannot make a group of 2 or 7. It's a wrong way. We can only group adjacent blocks with together. Fine. What is the second rule? A square containing 1 can be included in as many groups as desired. Okay. So it is necessary to group each one time, but we can group it as many times as it is needed. That means there is not any max limit, like you can't group it with 2 or 3 or 4. If it is needed to group with 4 or 5 elements, we can group it in different groups 2 or any number of times. Fine. So minimum number of time that one should be grouped is 1 and maximum number of time there is no limit. Fine. The third rule is a group must be as large as possible. Fine. So when we make a group, it should be as large as possible. That means if we can make a group of 4, then we will not just deduce it and make a group of 2 and 2. It will going to increase our complexity. Okay, so for getting the minimized equation, we will make the group as large as possible. Fine. And the fourth rule is the number of squares in a group must be equal to 1, 2, 4, 8 and 16. That means this is a very important rule. You can only group the K-maps in the power of 2. That means if you make a group with the ones in a K-map, then the number of squares in that group should be in the power of 2. That means you can't make a group of 3 ones, like in this case 2, all these 3 horizontal ones cannot make a group, because this is not a rule. You can only make groups with the count of ones in the power of 2. Like you can make a group of 1, 2, 4, 8, 16 and etc. You can't make group of 3, 5, 7 or else. Fine. A K-map is considered to be folded or spherical. Therefore, squares at the end of a row or column are treated as adjacent square. Okay. So now you should see my video. This rule means that you can see in the diagram that it is a rectangle. Imagine it as a sheet of paper. You have done these type of questions in your class 12, that if you have to make a cylinder from a sheet of paper, you will just roll it this way. You can roll it horizontally, or you can also roll it vertically. Fine. So if you will roll it from the vertical axis, then this side and this side will be adjacent to each other. Okay. If you have any doubts in this, you can ask me in chat box. I'm looking to the chat box continuously. Fine. So if we will rotate it, or if we will make a cylinder from this by rotating it from this axis, then the 4 and 0 will become adjacent to each other as they will join by side. Fine. And the 1 and 5 will also become adjacent to each other. Okay. Thus, we can also group our 4 with our 0 and our 1 with our 5. Fine. We can group only adjacent boxes, and as I said, this curve is foldable. So the fourth block and the 0th block is also adjacent to each other after folding. That means we can also group the 0th element with the 4th element. Fine.
Sanika,
Yeah.
please explain the rule 2 again.
Okay. So the rule 2 is a square containing 1 can be included in as many groups as desired. Fine. I will show you with the help of example. Just wait for 2 minutes. Okay. Let me complete it once. Then I'll show you. With example, I'll clear you every rule. Okay. A simplified logic expression obtained from a K-map is not always unique. Grouping can be made in different ways. Okay. So there are many different ways of grouping. It is not necessary that you can make group only in a single way. Fine. And letters which are not changing in a group. Okay. Now we will see it by making our groups. Fine. So the first rule is that we can make only groups with our adjacent blocks. Okay. Second rule is we have to see that our group should be as large as possible. Okay. The third rule is we can include our one in as many, we can include each one in as many groups as possible. I'll show you this, how is this going to be possible here. And the most important rule is in each group, we should have the numbers in powers of 2. We should have the squares in powers of 2 only. Okay. So first group I am going to make here is by these 4 elements, the 6, 4, 5 and 7. Okay. This is my first group I am going to make here. Okay. It is following my each and every rule. How? it is as large as possible. I can't make a group greater than 4, because greater than 4 we have only 8 in our possibility, but we don't have 8 ones here. If we have 8 ones, then we can make a group of 8. Okay, so this group is as large as possible. All the squares included are adjacent to each other. This is adjacent to this, this is adjacent to this, this is adjacent to this, and this is adjacent to this. So all the squares are adjacent to each other. Fine. And this group is as large as possible. And it also follows the rule that there are this group has squares in the power of 2, which is 4. Fine. The other group I am going to make here is, I can make 2 types of groups. Like I can also make this, because 2 to the power 0 is 1. We can also group this one with itself, like only a single one in one group. But our second rule says that we have to make our groups as large as possible. So we can see that we can make a group with this one here, but this one is already included. So it is not necessary that if a 1 is included in some group, then we can't use it in other group. If we are getting a greater group by including this one, then we will obviously include it. And this is what our rule second is. A square containing 1 can be included in as many groups as desired. That means if a 1 is needed in more than one group, we will include it in each and every group for making our groups as large as possible. Did you get it? Someone asked me for the rule 2. 4 and 7 are not okay. So 4 and 7 are not adjacent to each other, but they are adjacent to the ones. See, 6 and 4 are adjacent to each other. 6 and 7 are adjacent to each other. 7 and 5 are adjacent to each other, and 5 and 4 are adjacent to each other. If there is 0 in this place and 0 in this place, then you can't form a group with 4 and 7 only. You can't form a group with 4 and 7 only. But if we have other adjacent values connected to them, then we can form a group of 4. That means if 6 is adjacent to 4 and 6 is adjacent to 7, we have 6 in between. Like for making our 7 and 4 adjacent, we have 6 in this case between. If we doesn't have our 6, then we can't group them together. But we have 6 and 5 here. So we can combine all these terms together. What is the other doubt? Fine. I'll continue it. Yeah. So here it is 1 in our case, and here it is 1 in our case. We will see other examples later. So it will make you clear all the cases of horizontal and vertical rotation also. Now in this case, we will see how can we write the expression after grouping. So let's see for this group of 2, which is combining our second and sixth output. So for this group of 2, what is changing in the group? I mean, which variable is changing its value in the group? So A is changing from 0 to 1. You can clearly see for this group, A is changing from 0 to 1. And as I told you, the variable which is changing its value from A to A bar is going to minimize. That means we doesn't need to write this variable in our case. We will only write those variables whose values are constant in the whole group. Okay, so the value of B is constant in the whole group, and it is 1. And the value of C is also constant in this whole group. Only see this group, a group of 2 numbers which I have formed. Only see for this group. For this group, the value of C is constant and the value of B is constant. Okay, so value of B is 1 and value of C is 0 and they are constant. So if we have to write minterm from it, what would be its minterm? Its minterm will be B C bar. Okay. And now we will see for this bigger group. So for this bigger group, A is constant. Yes.
There is a doubt here that can we take 2645 as a group? How we cannot take
2645 as a group. Okay, cool. 2645. If you are saying, okay, wait, I will draw another one. See. This is 2, 6, 4 and 5. Okay. Why can we can't take this as a group of 4? Okay, we can't take this as a group of 4. Okay. What is the problem? The problem is that if we will see, these are adjacent, these are adjacent, and these are adjacent. In this case, as I have said, we can fold our K-map with itself. Like if we fold this K-map from this axis, then this block and this block is adjacent to each other. And if we fold it from this axis, then this block is adjacent to each other. So this block is adjacent to this one. This one is adjacent to this, and this one is adjacent to this. But this is not adjacent to this one. So it is not adjacent to the below one. Wait, I will name it to. So this is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, and 1, 0. This is 0 and 1. So for this one, we will write what is ABC for this. For second, ABC is 0, 1, 0. For this case, ABC is 1, 1, 0. For this case, ABC is 1, 0, 0. And for this case, ABC is, this is 1, 1, 0, 1. Okay, it is 1, 0, 1. Fine. So there is a change of 1 in this. There is a change of 1 in this. And there is a change of 1 in this. But in this below 1 and this above 1, there is a change of 3. There is not a change of 1, right? So we can't club this with this together. Okay. In this case, we will also write for this group. So for 6, we have 1, 1, 0. For 4, we have 1, 0, 0. For 5, we have 1, 0, 1. And for 6 and for 7, we have 1, 1, 1. Okay. So you can clearly see there is a change of 1 bit from this to this. There is a change of 1 bit from this to this. There is a change of 1 bit from this to this. And there is a change of 1 bit from this to this. That is why we can form this group and we can't form this group of 4. Clear? Whoever asked the question, tell me if it's not clear, then you can just open your mic and ask. Okay. Now I was just showing you that how can you write the expression from the group. So we will write only those variables which are constant in the whole group. So for this shorter group, B is not changing its value and C is not changing its value. So this group will be, so the minterm of B will be B because its value is 1, and C will change to C bar, and there will be product of B and C bar. We are writing the SOP of this, so we are going to add this term. Now for this bigger term, what is constant in this case? So A is not changing its value in the whole group. A is constant. B is not constant. It's changing its value from 1 to 0, and C is also not constant in this case. So the only constant value is A. So our equation will become A plus BC bar. Fine. This is our final equation that we have found out from our K-map. And you can also see the one we have found out using Boolean algebra is also the same. A plus BC bar is the one we have found out here, and A plus BC bar is the one we have found out through K-map. Okay. Any doubts? Ask me now. K-map is a very important topic, so please don't keep your doubt. Okay, how we got final equation? Fine, I'll show you how we got final equation. Fine. So, while writing the equation from the group of K-map, we will only write those variables, we will only take minterms of those variables which are constant in the whole group. So, for this shorter group, the value of A is changing. Here value of A is 0 and here value of A is 1. So the value of A is changing from 0 to 1. That's why we will not include A in our equation. The value of B is not changing its value. It is constant and its value is 1. So we will take B in our equation. The value of C is 0 for whole this group. It is not changing its value. So we will include C in our equation. Hence, the value of B is 1 and value of C is 0. So its minterm will be B C bar. Okay. As we are writing the SOP, that means the sum of product of the minterms, we are firstly finding the minterms and then we are going to OR it. Okay. So for this bigger group, we are taking the variable which is not changing its value. So here the value of A is 1 here and value of A is 1 here. The value of A is constant in this whole group. The value of B is changing from 1 to 0. That's why we are not going to include B in this case. The variable which is changing its value or which is not constant is going to minimize only. That's why we are not including it. Fine. The value of C is 0 here and the value of C is 1 here. That's why C is also changing its value in this group. So we are not including C here. The only constant variable is A. That's why, and the value of A is 1. So what is the minterm of this? The minterm of this expression would be A. So our final expression will be BC bar plus A. Now any doubts? Yeah, so we should take 6, 4, 5, 7. Wait. 6, 4, 5, 7. Yes. So what is the doubt? I mean, I have taken the group 6, 4, 5, 7, right? Neeraj, Saket, I'm not getting your doubt. You are saying that some rule says to take a group as long as possible. That is why we are taking 6, 4, 5, 7. Yes, 6, 4, 5, 7 is the maximum number of ones that we can club together. Fine. Any other doubts? You should open your mic and ask, or you can write in the chat box. Okay. Otherwise, you can see some examples. It will make you more clear about your doubts. Fine. So let's see some of the valid and invalid groups which we can make. So let's see this. This is our first example. So in this case, what is our rule? That we have to take our, okay, one more thing I haven't told you. You can only take one once in a group. You can't group this together like a single one and all the zeros. This is not a valid group. A valid group is which one? In which we have grouped only once. Only once are grouped in a K-map, not the zeros. Fine. In our first example, there are 4 ones here. So we have taken this horizontal group, and there are 4 ones here. So we have taken this horizontal group. Okay. So our rule, all of our rule are satisfied. We are taking the groups as large as possible. Fine. We are also including the ones more than one time in a group. Fine. We are not leaving any one without making a group. Okay. And the groups consist of the squares in the number of 2 to the power 2. That means 4. So this is a valid group. Now in this case, why it is not a valid group? Because we haven't made our boxes as large as possible. You can also make these groups. Okay, this is not a I mean, you will not get a wrong answer from this, but you will get a bigger equation from this. You will not get the minimized form. You will get a bigger equation from this. When you group the smaller, when you make smaller groups, then you have to solve it furthermore also. Like, you will not directly get this equation. You will come somewhere from here. Okay, but we are using K-map for this use only, that we don't have to minimize it again using Boolean laws. Fine. Now this is a 2 input K-map. So you can see in this case, as I have said, diagonals are not grouped together. So this is a wrong grouping. In this, we have grouped these 2 ones together and these 2 ones together. So this is a right group. Next, see, we can, there are 6 ones. So 6 is not a valid group. So we are grouping these in 2 groups of 4 and 4. Fine. Now in this case, this is in this in these box, it is following our folding law. Like, as I said, our curve is foldable. So this and this is also adjacent to each other. And one more thing, if there is one in here also, then we can also group this one with this one, because if we if we fold this from this horizontal axis, if we fold this curve from this horizontal axis, then this and this square will also become adjacent to each other. We can also make a group of this one and this one. Fine. These are adjacent to each other. Similarly, this one and this one are adjacent to each other. That's why we can make a group of them. Okay. This is a good example. You will be more clear from this. Like, don't see x here. Like, imagine that these x are ones. Okay. Let's say these x are 1 in all this case. You will know why are we using x later. For right now, take all the x as 1. Okay, so this group, you can clearly see that we can make a group of 4 and 2 and 2. I think you have understood this case. Okay, we will focus on corner cases. So they have grouped all the 4 corners together. Like, this is a group of 4 of all the corners. Why? Because if we fold this curve from this axis, this will be adjacent to this will be adjacent to this. And if we fold from this curve, this will be adjacent to this, and this will be adjacent to this. That's why all of them are adjacent to each other. Still you have any doubt? So as I told you, by writing their binary expression, you can also see by that way. All of them will only differ by 1 bit only. That's why they are adjacent. And for visualization purpose, we used to see by this folding law. Fine. Theoretically, you can also see by their inputs, like it is 0 0 here, 0 0 0 0 and 1 0 0 0. So only C is changing its value. Similarly, you can see in this case, it's 0 0 is constant, only this A is changing from 0 to 1. For this case, you can see C is changing its value and all the others are constant. Okay. Similarly for other cases. Okay, so from this, from some of these examples, you will see, you'll be more clear about writing the equations from the groups. Okay, so see this red group. Fine. In this red group, B is not changing its value. B is constant. C is not constant. A is also not constant. So the value for this red group will be B. Fine. For this green group, B and C both are changing its value. B is 0 here and 1 here. C is 0 here and 1 here. But A is constant. That's why the value or the expression from this green group is A. So our final expression will be F is equals to A plus B. See in this case, for this green group, B is changing its value, but C is constant and A is also constant. C is constant and its value is 1 and A is constant and its value is 0. So for the green group, the min term will be A bar because value of A is 0 dot C because value of C is 1. For red group, the value of B and C are constant, but the value of A is changing. So we will neglect A. The value of B is 0, so we will take B bar, and the value of C is 1, so we will dot it by C. See this case. Now see this corner block or corner group, which is made by blue lines. Okay, so in this case, you will see that our B is changing its value from 0 to 1. C is constant in this case. C is 0 here also and C is 0 here also. And A is constant in this case and the value of A is 1. That's why here our representation will be A for A because the value of A is 1 dot C bar, which is the min term of this block. Now see here, this one is grouped alone, like there is no other numbers in this one. Fine. So that means all the variables are constant in this case. There is no change of variable. That's why we will write, that's why in its min term we will write all the variables. Fine. So the value of A is 0, we will write A bar. The value of B is 0, we will write B bar. And the value of C is 1, so we will write C. So this is the min term of this green group. For this red group, we have 1 0 and the value of B and C are constant. The value of A is changing in this group, that's why we will neglect A. So the value of B is 1, so we will write B dot the C bar because the value of C is 0. This example you can see with yourself. If you have any doubt, then just ask me. Doubts? Is there any doubt or everything is clear? If everything is clear, then you are going to do some questions on it. So ask if you have any problem. Fine.
Sanika?
Yeah. Wrap up करें?